Another sellout expected for this evening's contest, Game 2 between the Braves and the Expos.
That's a fair ball into the corner. It's a double and an RBI, and the Braves break out on top.
Deep left field, and gone. Two-run homer around third. He scores to tie the game. Way out of here. The Braves have regained the lead. We go to the bottom of the ninth. This ball game has had them all.
Hello again, everybody. Along with Joe Simpson, Skip Carey, welcoming you to another night of Atlanta Braves baseball. Another huge crowd is gathering at the stadium here in Montreal as the Braves and Expos meet for the second game of a three-game series.
Well, here's the Formula 2001 starting lineup for Bobby Cox tonight against the left-handed pitcher. It'll be Dave Gallagher leading it off, then Jeff Blauser. Roberto Kelly drops to the 3-hole. Then McGriff, Justice, and Charlie O'Brien. Lemke, Pacoda, and Glavin, the lower third of the order. Left-hander Kirk Reeder, only 23 years old, 6'3", 195 out of Hoyleton, Illinois. Fastball, curveball change. 10 walks you see there, only 1 walk in his last 5 starts.
Dave Gallagher leads it off against him, and we're ready to go. A lot of empty seats here. There must be a mob outside. The pitch. Pop foul back and out of play. We're underway in Montreal. Reeder came up last year in the middle of the year and sent the league on its ear. He was 8-0 with a 2.73 earned run average. He's found the going a little tougher this year. 0-2. Frank Pulley calls the balls and strikes. He's a pitcher's umpire, one of the best in the business. On 3 pitches, Gallagher is out of there.
Good fastball. Look where Webster's set up inside. Not only are they taking it to the Braves offensively, Skip, but I think their pitchers last night, Ken Hill, very aggressive. Kirk Reeder starting the same way.
Jeff Blauser hitting 264, 0 for 2 in the game last night. Breaking ball. He hasn't thrown anything but strikes yet. Reeder out of Nashville, Illinois. Downstairs, it's even. A ball and a strike.
Their pitching staff of late, I mean, their 3 starters are main starters with Martinez, Reeder, and Hill very tough, but they've been pretty tough the last couple of 3 years. Unnoticed, of course.
They may be a team that's not going to be a secret much longer. They're a good-looking ball club. 1-2 is the count. Just got a piece of it, fouled it back. Count stays the same.
Reeder's ERA high right now because he's had some rough going of late. His last 7 starts, only 2 decisions, and he's 1-1.
Missed inside. Seattle beat Detroit today 6-4 in American League action. Colorado, San Diego, 9-9 in the 6th inning of their game. Grounded to short. Cordero waits, fields, and throws. 2 out. Reeder gets the first 2 easily, and Roberto Kelly the batter.
If you're wondering, Larry Walker played some first base last year early in the season for Montreal. Played 4 straight games there, but those were the only games where he saw action at first base. But when you think back to Dennis Martinez's perfect game a couple of years ago against the Dodgers, he was at first base that afternoon.
He's not a happy guy right now with his organization. Kelly takes outside. National League suspended him for 4 games. He elected to serve the suspension immediately, and his ball club didn't pay him for those 4 games. He feels they should have. A ball and a strike. Outside, 2-1.
I have a problem with that, too. I have a problem with it because the guys are going to drug rehabs and other situations like that and getting their salaries taken care of. This is an on-the-field incident.
Speaking of which, Mets pitcher Dwight Gooden was suspended for 60 days by Major League Baseball's Executive Council. That's the people who are trying to be commissioner. He violated his aftercare program. Inside to Kelly. Boy, they ooh and ah with every pitcher.
They celebrated outside the stadium last night like they had won the pennant.
The payoff, here it is. You watch it. So Kelly draws a 2-out walk, and Fred McGriff, the batter.
The American League trying to nail down their 7th consecutive win. McGriff is the tying run at the plate. 1 on, 1 out. There he goes. And the ball is skied to left center field. Lofton goes back. Lofton to the fence. She's gone! When McGriff crosses, it's tied at 7. And Three Rivers is alive.
Curve sweeps outside. 1 ball, no strikes. I don't think a crowd is as important. Home field advantage is as important in baseball, certainly, as in basketball. But these people are at such a frenzied pitch that it does mean something.
Especially when they're only used to 20,000 folks being here, and now they're doubling that.
On the corner at the knee. 1-1. McGriff 0 for 2 last night. He is 1 for 4 in his career against Reeder. One and 2.
Fred looking for his first homer in about 60 at-bats. Reeder is not allowed any to lefties.
Roberto is back easily. 1-2, the count to Fred McGriff. Kelly back easily. I can see throwing over there once, but with 2 out and a runner at first and ahead of a hitter 1 and 2, I would be concentrating on that hitter.
Shows you how desirous he is to throw a pitch to Fred McGriff. He'd rather have him hitting up there with nobody on if he could pick him off.
Starter to go, held up. 2 and 2. There must be 8,000 to 10,000 empty seats. Well, we know all those seats have been sold. There goes Kelly. He got a bad jump. That's a fair ball into the corner. Roberto is racing for third. He's around third. They're going to send him. The White can't come up with the ball, and Kelly will score easily. McGriff hit one right over the bag and into the left field corner. It's a double and an RBI, and the Braves break out on top.
Shades of Philadelphia, his 19th double of the year, and it's right on the third base line because they keep pitching him away. Fred's just taking what they're giving him, and that pitch was too close to take, so he slapped it down the line. I'm not sure what happened here in the corner. We'll have to watch. Rondell White cut it off, but dropped it before he could get rid of it, and that gave Roberto the extra time he needed to score without a throw.
No error was charged, for Kelly was running all the way. Here's David Justice. Sending the runner paid off in a run there. Breaking ball outside. 1 ball, no strikes. White plays Justice sort of near the line. There's a lot of room for him in left center. Grissom is straight away in center field. Right through there. It's 1-1.
Fred may not have a lot of home runs over his last 60 at-bats or so, but since June 12th, he's hitting close to 400. 53 RBIs.
He leads the team in both homers and RBIs. That ball is pretty well hit. White on the run, still going. He leaps. He cannot make the catch. A run is in. And Justice pulls up at second with a double. He hit it into that left center field gap. White had a shot at it, but couldn't hang on. All this with 2 out, nobody on.
And started with the bases on balls. Fastball down and away. Look how he went down with his head and hands on that ball. Stayed with it all the way and really drove it hard over White's head in left center. David limping a little bit, too, as he got into second base. That knee still bothering him.
Yeah, he told me when he has to run hard and then slam on the brakes, it really hurts. If he can just sort of cruise in there, he's normally okay.
He quieted the crowd a bit.
Charlie O'Brien can quiet him still more as he pops one foul and out of play. You wonder about those speakers you may see, which occasionally come close to getting hit. If you count from center field back toward foul territory on each line, the first 7, anything that hits it is a home run. Or they feel anything that's hit that high would get out of the ballpark. A little tap, that'll end the inning. Reeder has it. Over to first, and the inning is over, but not before the Braves score 2 times on 2 hits. They leave 1. We go to the bottom of the first. Atlanta 2. Montreal comes to bat.
For Atlanta, 2 runs after 2 are out in the top of the first inning. Let's see if Glavine can keep this Expo lineup off the scoreboard in the bottom of the first. Grissom, Rondell White, then Alou. Larry Walker inserted into the cleanup spot. Then Will Cordero, Lenny Webster, and Sean Barry. Mike Lansing will hit 8th. Kirk Reeder, the pitcher, bats 9th. On the mound, Tommy Glavine makes his 17th start of the year. 1 complete game. He has not had a lot of success with the Montreal Expos. Only 6-11 lifetime. 3-5 here at this ballpark, although he did throw a gem against them in Atlanta back on May 7th. He beat them 2-1 thanks to a 2-run homer by Mark Lemke. Worked 9 innings, gave them only 1 run.
Grissom takes low and away. 1 ball, no strikes. He was 4 out of 5 last night and scored 2 times. And gained 9 points on his average. High pop, right side, out of play.
At one time, Glavine, while 6-11 now, he was 3-11, so he has really rebounded from a slow start against these guys. But it's going to be very important for him to not walk anybody tonight. His last 19 innings, he's allowed 12 walks and 22 hits. He can't allow that many base runners tonight.
He's ahead in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Pirates beat the Cubs today 6-5. And they're in the 7th, still 9-9, the Padres and the Rockies. Just missed inside, 2-2.
Pirates have won 7 of their last 8, playing good baseball. Brian Hunter, I believe, hit a grand slam today, and he's been hot.
Glad to see him getting going. He got off to a scuffling start. Broken bat grounder to Pacoda. 1 down. So Grissom is out to start the game, and here's Rondell White out of Gray, Georgia. White just 22 years old. Last year he spent most of the year at Harrisburg, where he hit .327, so they promoted him to Ottawa, where he hit .380, and then he came up here and hit .260 and 73 advance in a pennant race. He's only batted 24 times this year. One of these days, they say this guy's going to has a chance to be a great, great player. He can catch up with that one, 0-1.
What we've seen of him in spring training would indicate so, Skip, because he looks like he can do a lot of things well. Good throwing arm, can hit with power.
Moise Alou is next. That's lined hard down the left field line, fair. Into the corner, look at him run. He's at second with a double. That wakes the crowd up big time.
He really got some great extension on this pitch. Looked like a changeup that stayed out over the plate. The Expos, with 161 doubles now, lead the National League in that category.
Here's Alou. He's hitting .352, 14 homers, 53 runs batted in. O'Brien blocks it. 1 ball, no strikes.
You can just see the fire in Charlie O'Brien's eyes tonight during that interview, because he was really looking forward to this challenge, the way this Expo team can run.
Well, he will be challenged if they have base runners. You know that. Ground ball to the right side. Runner to third. Look at Alou get down the line. 2 down. Everybody who saw that horrible injury he suffered last year doubted that he would ever play again, much less go charging down the line like he did there. 2 out. Runner at third.
He wasn't even able to play until about 3 weeks into spring training, too, so he had a slow start getting ready for the season.
You see the good numbers that Walker has amassed for the year. Runner at third, 2 out. Looped on the left field line. Gallagher can't get there. It's a hit and a run is in. Walker heads for second, and he is out of there. But a run scores, and it's 2-1. A bloop single and an RBI for Walker. A strong throw by Gallagher to Lemke to end the inning. But a run on 2 hits, no errors, nobody left, and after 1, Braves lead it 2-1. Lemke leads off the second inning for the Braves. It's a 2-1 ball game. And Kirk Reeder's first pitch is high and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Lemke at .301, 3 homers, 27 runs driven in. There's a strike right in there. Foul back. That'll reach the seats. It's 1-2. Good live fastball, but he missed outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well hit into right center field. Long run for Grissom. He'll not get there. All the way to the wall. Lemke heads for second, and he'll stop there with the 3rd Atlanta hit and 3rd Atlanta double of the night, and a good start to the second inning. And Reeder isn't fooling him so far.
And let's face it, if you're going to hit one in the gap, you've got to hit it a long way to get it over Marquise Grissom's head, the way he can run the ball down. Off-speed pitch that was telegraphed, I believe, by Reeder. I think Lemke was able to keep his hands back enough to wait on the ball. And then a short hop the fence out in deep right center. Good swing by Mark.
And a good play by Grissom there, handing that ball off the fence to make sure an extra base wasn't taken. Bill Pacoda lines one to right for foul. He was taking a shot to the right side. Runner at second, nobody out. Inside, it's even now, and a ball on the strike. Chop to third. The runner has to stay. 1 out. That hurt.
They threw him a curveball, and it was up and in, and there wasn't a whole lot else Bill could do with it. Probably would have been better off taking it. He's had some trouble in these situations with men in scoring position. That's why his ERA is quite high at almost 5.5 coming in. But again, he gives up some hits. 64 hits in 51 innings coming in, but he just doesn't walk a lot of guys ordinarily.
Up and into Glavine, 1 ball, no strikes. They have a crowd of 45,000 in the seats and another 45,000 in our booth.
At least. Most of whom think it's a picnic up here, apparently.
The 1-0 pitch. Up and in again, and time call. Webster to the mound, and Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach, comes out as well. See what Glavine does with a 2-0 pitch. He chops it towards short. Cordero will throw him out. And he does. 2 down. Dave Gallagher, a strikeout victim his first time, and he bats here with a runner at third and 2 out and a chance to increase what is a 1-run lead. 2-3-0 for the Braves, 1-2-0 for the Expos. The stretch. Curve high, 1 ball, no strikes. Just missed the outside corner. He's behind yet another hitter. 2-0 the count. High pop foul back out of play. 2-1. Dave at 220 on the year. 2 homers, 12 runs driven in.
Among the Braves, I think he's maybe the guy that's most interested in the World Cup. He really is a big soccer fan.
Fouled back again. It's 2-2.
Come to the ballpark, you see him glued to the TV.
I sort of looked down my nose at it till I started watching it a little bit, and it can hook you.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was a little more scoring, but I know that makes the purists angry. Fly ball right field will end the inning. Alou is there waiting. And Reeder gets out of second inning trouble. 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 1 left. We go to the bottom half of the second inning. Atlanta 2, Montreal 1. Lenny Webster hitting .308 for them with 2 homers, 16 RBI. Braves lead it 2-1.
He had one of the 4 hits against Tom in that game he pitched against the Expos back in May, and it was a little slow roller down the third baseline that drove in a run in the 9th inning, I believe, and looked like it was going to give Jeff Passero the win until Lemke hit the 2-run homer in the bottom of the inning to win it.
1 ball, no strikes. Sean Berry waits on deck, and Mike Lansing will hit. A little low, I guess. 2-0. After an inning, the Phillies lead the Marlins 1-0 tonight in Philadelphia.
He may be a little tentative against the left-handers. Let's see if it works in Glavine's favor.
Snap to first. Cordero back.
He's going to have to do that. That's what Charlie talked about. He's going to have to change his looks a little bit. You rarely see Tom make that quick snap throw over there like Steve Avery likes to use.
There's a strike at the knees, a fastball. 2-1. Boy, the Reds lost a tough one last night. Rallied for 4 in the 9th. Lost it in the 11th by 1. Dion didn't play, has a bruised heel, huh?
He's missed a few games this past week because of it.
2 balls and a strike. Line right field, base hit. Webster around first, racing for second. He will make it. Second and third, nobody out. And Barry, Lansing, and the pitcher have a chance to do some damage.
Skip, the last couple of nights, it looks like against Maddox and now Glavin that the Expos are going to take away the outside half of the plate. They're saying if you're going to throw the change-ups and run pitches away from the right-handed batters, we're going to be ready for you. Webster hit that one right on the nose, and it was a pretty good pitch from Tom.
Infield is back, willing to concede a run for an out. Montreal with 4 hits already. The Braves have 3. Barry can't catch up with that one. He's 1 out of 6 in his career against Glavin. He's hitting .263. Little tap. Glavin fields. His only play will be to first. Tie game. If it's hit a little harder, he gets him at the plate.
If it's hit a little harder, he's got 2 outs in the inning. Remember, Corderos was just a little bloop over the mound that got this inning started.
So Lansing is the batter. Runner at third, 1 out, 1 in. We are tied 2-2. Lemke and McGriff talk things over. Infield's going to play in for Atlanta. With the 8th place hitter and then the pitcher coming up. 1 ball, no strikes. Lansing handles the bat pretty well. Is a squeeze a possibility?
Could be. 9 out of 16 times he's gotten the runner home from third base.
It's on. The bunt is a good one. Only play to first. Expos lead. It's a sacrifice, an RBI.
Perfect execution. You're taught as the hitter to bunt the ball right back to the pitcher to make sure you get it in fair territory. Lansing did his job excellently, and these Expos have got things working offensively. They do all the little things it takes to win.
A strike to Reeder, who's hitting .118. If you went by the muscularity of the base hits in a game, the Braves would be way ahead, but that's not the way they play this particular contest. It's 3-2 Montreal. One and two the count. Another chop over the pitcher's head. Lemke fields close. Got him, and the inning is over. Glavin is wondering what in the world's going on out there. He shakes his head in wonderment. 2 hits, 2 runs, no errors, none left. At the end of 2, Montreal 3, Atlanta 2. It's now a 3-2 Montreal game.
Skip, this ball club, the Montreal team, reminds me, and you and I were talking about comparisons last night, late in the ball game, about how they remind you of the Cardinal team a few years ago. They remind me of the Oakland team in the early 80s that was managed by Billy Martin. They called it Billy Ball in Oakland, and they had a young Ricky Henderson leading off. They had a lot of speed on that team, and they were just as liable to hit and run, squeeze, steal on any occasion, on any count, any score. It didn't matter, and it really kept pressure on the defense always. You never knew what was coming next, and that's the way this Montreal team plays.
And this is no alibi for the Braves, but Montreal is a team that has been built to play on a carpet, like they play on. Jeff Blauser takes a strike to start the third, just like the Cardinals were. Oakland was not, but
Kansas City for years, too. Their success predicated on speed.
The wind and the pitch. A little low, it's 1-1. I would think that if these two teams played 100 times in Atlanta, the Braves would probably win 60 of them, and if they played 100 times here in Montreal, the Expos would probably win 60 of them, because they're Clubs are tailored for the parts in which they play. The Braves are a more ponderous team. Play for the big inning, play for the long ball. 2-1 the count to the Atlanta shortstop. There's our club. Fly ball foul. It's now 2-2. Bottom of the 8th. The Rockies and Padres 9-9. I wonder who came in and pitched for those two teams after the first 4 or 5 innings. Whoever it is doing it much better than the guys they used early on. 2-2. Low and inside. Full count. Reeder has walked 1. He has struck out the same number. Line into left center field. Nobody's going to get that one either. Look at Grissom get over there to cut it off and hold him to a single. Boy, he is some outfield. That ball had extra bases written all over it when it left the bat. Another solid Atlanta hit.
No way in the world this should have been anything but at least a double. Hit right on the nose. Grissom plays everybody straight away, but his outstanding jump and his great explosive speed enabled him to cut that ball off. I imagine it would have been a triple if he hadn't gloved it.
Plus, he can throw, too. Well, the tying run is aboard with nobody out. Glavin's got to be over there shaking his head. His teammates are hitting rocket shots. They're just banging the ball off the carpet, and they're winning. Runner goes. They play hit and run, and that's a good piece of hitting by Kelly to foul that pitch off. It was right in on his hand.
And he's got a sore thumb on his left hand, too, his glove hand, which makes it doubly tough on that ball that's biting in on you to try to get the bat out there.
Into right field, base hit. Blauser will have to stop at second. Alou up with it. Kelly just guided one between first and second, and the Braves are knocking at the door again. First and second, nobody out for McGriff, Justice, and O'Brien.
He is terrific. Situations, he always seems to try to hit the ball in the right spots, try to take advantage of whatever holes the defense has given him, and he does it again.
Gil Heredia goes to work in the bullpen for Montreal. Braves have now out-hit him 5-4. McGriff double to left his first time. Curve sweeps outside. They ask for help. No swing. 1 ball, no strikes. Ed Rapuano made the call. Fastball at the knees. A ball and a strike. The outfield plays McGriff just about straight away. He took another shot at left field, but fouled this breaking ball off, and he's in the hole.
Most left-handers for Fred who throw him breaking balls will find that that's what he's sitting on. He'll sit there and wait for that curve ball regardless of the count, and then try to adjust if he has to for the fastball. He knows they're going to work him away. Nobody's going to challenge him.
They're coming in now, and he fouls it off. Count stays 1-2. Hitting .314 against Kirk Reeder coming into this game. Alrighty, are getting ready in a hurry. The stretch. Curve, line foul down that left side again. Time has called. Mike Lansing wants to talk with his pitcher. And he might be saying, haven't you thrown him that curveball out there enough yet?
Yeah. It's like to me he may be hanging out over the plate on you just a little bit.
Fred stands back in there. Close. 2-2.
Oui, monsieur. I think.
Merci. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Little French lingo, folks. I meant that was very close. The 2-2 pitch. Came in there again and missed too far in 3-2. Now a real decision. Nobody out. Do you send the runners? I don't think I would.
I don't think so either. Fred's been tough on left-handed pitching, but I'd still, I think, keep everybody close to the vest here. I know what the Expos would do.
The 3-2, they're going. He walked him, and the bases are loaded. It becomes a moot point. Second walk for Reeder. Bases loaded, nobody out. The Braves have a chance now to have a huge inning. Justice doubled into the alley in left center his first time, driving in a run.
Last time Reeder walked as many as 2 batters in a ball game was on May 9th against the Mets. He walked 3. He's only walked 1 coming into tonight's start since then.
Pops away into the seats and a run scored. And the runners move up and the game is tied. Wild pitch. It's 3-3 and the runners are at second and third. That's a gift.
I believe that's his first wild pitch of the year, too.
It is. It is.
Again, tried to make a perfect pitch on a good breaking ball and overthrew it. Had it gripped a little bit too tight. Bounces away from Webster.
Check swing, strike. 3-3 our score. The infield back at short and second for Montreal. Walker just behind the bag at first and Barry even with the bag at third. There's still nobody out in the inning. It's now Justice, O'Brien, and Lemke for Atlanta. Going away, 2 balls and a strike. So far, these 2 teams have been like 2 heavyweight fighters tonight, each going for the knockout early, and the other side taking the best shots.
They're doing it in different ways, too.
The 2-1 curve swung, pop, foul back, and out of play. It's even now at 2-2.
This may be Reeder's last batter, since you have a right-hander coming up next. Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach, made a sign down to the bullpen that maybe he's just going to pitch to 1 more.
The runners lead. Kelly at third, McGriff at second. The 2-2. He's running full again. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Reeder is really fighting it here.
Hey, this guy last year, when he was 8-0, he wasn't lucky 8-0. His ERA was 2.7, pitching great baseball.
Down the stretch, too. They were in the pennant race for much of that time, some of that time. Well, here's the payoff pitch to David. A high chop, a run will score. Other man goes to third. Cordero gets his man at first. And Justice is hurting again as he lunged for that bag. He drove in a run, however, to give Atlanta the lead. And a good job by McGriff taking off and getting to third.
Well, and speaking of Justice, I believe this was due to the Braves. This high chopper over the mound. Great play by Cordero on a high hop off the turf to make it and throw him out.
And as Joe guessed, Philippe Alou has seen enough of Reeder for tonight. And he goes to Gil Heredia. Heredia's done all right for them. He's the guy that came up last year and pitched so effectively against Atlanta as a starter in one game. He used to be with the San Francisco Giants. And he will face Charlie O'Brien with a runner at third and one out when play resumes, and the Braves on top 4-3.
Well, their bullpen has been terrific for them all season long, and it's not just Mel Rojas and not just John Wetland. This guy in his last 12 appearances is 4-0 with an ERA of 1.53.
The infield now comes in for Montreal. They squeezed home a run, but I don't think we'll try it.
Charlie will jump on the first one if it's close.
Like that. High and far into left. White going back, Grissom going back. It'll be Grissom who makes the catch. And trotting home is Fred McGriff, and it's 5-3. A sacrifice fly RBI for O'Brien. He drives in his 18th run of the year. So 2 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs for Reeder. 2 walks, a strikeout, a wild pitch. And Lemke bats with 2 out, nobody on. O'Brien put a charge in that one. The Braves loaded the bases in this inning and then unloaded them. Scored 3 times. Again, the wind, the delivery. And it pops away as he swings and misses. May have foul tipped that ball. 0-2 the count. 5-5-0 for the Braves. 3-4-0 for the Expos. Look out, up and in. A ball and 2 strikes. Toronto Blue Jays, while the Expos have been streaking too, but in the opposite direction. They've lost 9 in a row.
What did I read today? Their longest losing streak in 13 or 14 years?
Something like that. And that's big news here in Montreal because there's a tremendous rivalry between the primarily English-speaking Toronto and the primarily French-speaking Montreal. After an inning, Cincinnati 2-0 over Houston. Just missed. Webster held it there, but didn't get the call. Cleveland leads Baltimore 5-2 there in the bottom of the 4th in Cleveland. Lemke doubled his first time. And he strikes out this time. Heredia puts out the fire. But the Braves scored 3 times on 2 hits. They leave no one. We go to the bottom of the 3rd with your score. Atlanta 5, Montreal 3. Top of the order, Marquise Grissom leads it off in the 3rd inning. Strike, 0-1. Grissom, White, and Alou, the first 3. Good breaking ball.
I think that will be a key pitch for Tom as the night goes along. That sharp breaking pitch that's going to go down and into the right-handers. If they're going to hang out over the plate, it'll be a tough one for them to handle.
Strike 3 call. Knees inside corner. Grissom argues about it, but he's out of there.
Let's take a look. Charlie's target set up there. The only argument might be if it was a little low, but too close to take.
Rondell White double to left his first time.
And I agree with you, Skip. I think Frank Pulley in the top 5 in the league in terms of balls and strikes.
High and away, 1 ball, no strikes. A derisive cheer from the fans for Pulley. That's well hit into center field. Kelly can't pick it up. He lost that ball for a moment. He knew it was coming in his direction. And he's really fortunate it didn't get by him and go to the wall.
I want you to watch how still White's head is here on this swing. kept his head right on the ball. It was all hands and wrists coming through to make contact, and it was a rifle.
So the kid from Gray, Georgia, hurting the Atlanta team. Moise Alou will be the batter. Runner at first, one out. Not exactly a pitching duel. We're in the bottom of the third. Each team has 5 hits. And 8 runs have been scored. Fortunately, if you're a Braves fan, 5 of them by Atlanta.
This is not a night where you need a pitching coach. You need a cut man.
The pitch. Low and away to Alou. 1 ball, no strikes. He grounded to second his first time. It's great to see these big crowds in Montreal, but I had to laugh tonight right before the game. I thought someone had been stricken with a heart attack to throw to first, runner back. So right out here behind us in the press room, there were a crowd of about 50 people all milling around, gathered together. So I ran over to see what was going on. Nobody was hurt. They were watching the National Hockey League draft. That is the #1 sport here. And that's one of the things the Expos are trying to overcome. Looped foul into the seats. A ball and a strike. Hockey is such a huge sport in Canada that even though it's played for the most part in a different time of year, there's still probably more hockey news this time of year in the paper than there is baseball.
I would agree.
And on radio TV. Again, they chase White back. That's a good idea. The Expos' fun-loving mascot, Yuppie, is entertaining the fans on top of the dugout. He thinks he's entertaining the fans. I have some doubt. Speaking of hockey, outside.
Yuppie may be the only person in an Expo uni tonight that can't steal a base.
2-1 is the count. The stretch. Swung and missed it. It's even now, 2-2. In the 9th, Colorado has taken a 10-9 lead over the Padres. San Diego is batting.
That fact right there, crucial to Tom tonight. He has changed up his delivery. He has used a slide step, different moves to first. Very important.
He struck him out. Larry Walker, the batter, he blooped a double to left, driving in a run his first time. Glavine has recorded his first 2 strikeouts in this inning.
He went to the high leg kick to get a little extra on this fastball and threw it by Moise Alou. Good pitch. Short stride. Good swing by Alou, but a little bit late.
Walker waits, runner at first, 2 down. High pop left side. This one, I think, will make the seats. O'Brien and Pacoda come over.
In the last 5 years, Skip, only 2 left-handed batters have hit as many as 2 home runs off of Tom Glavine. Larry Walker is one of them. And the other. Got a guess?
Yeah, Darryl Strawberry.
Good guess.
Yeah.
You are correct, sir.
I guess Hal was right. The pitch. Up and in. 2 balls and a strike.
Larry Walker will be a free agent at the end of the year. A lot of discussion over whether or not the Expos will try to retain his services.
2-2, and it's going to hurt his market value that his arm is as bad as it is, because he has when healthy, has a really outstanding throwing arm, and he may have to have it surgically repaired, and when that happens, you're not 100% sure that it's going to come all the way back. Throw to first.
Yeah, with his good throwing arm, I think he's among the best right fielders in the game.
foul back and out of play. He carries a little pocket clicker with him now when he goes to the outfield so he can keep track of the outs. He doesn't want to.
Yeah. Where was that, Los Angeles?
Yeah, one of the great pictures in sports is when he handed the ball after the second out in an inning to a fan trying to be a nice guy.
Mike Piazza, the hitter. Piazza in the air to right field. Larry Walker in foul territory. Now Offerman tagged up on that play. And Walker doesn't know how many outs there were. He gave the Offerman will go back to third.
Well, wait a minute. This is something I don't understand. I think Walker gave the ball to a fan.
He thought that was the third out.
See, and he gives it to that kid.
Yeah.
Now, here's the funny part. He goes back to get it, though. That's what's funny.
Yeah.
Now, what if the kid doesn't give it to him? Now, watch. So he goes back to get the ball.
Oh.
Into the dirt. O'Brien blocks it. Good play, but the count even. Then he went back at the ball, kept the run from scoring, though the runner moved up a base. And the next inning brought the same kid another ball. Everybody was amused except, I think, Philippe Alou.
Yeah.
To first. Rondell Wyatt is back. Now the 2-2 pitch. Got him. He struck out the side with a single sandwiched in there as well. One hit, no runs. No errors, one left. We've played 3 with your score. Atlanta 5, Montreal 3. Bill Pecota leads off the 4th. And the first pitch is high. 1 ball, no strikes. Bill grounded to third his first time. There's the strike. It's 1-1. Yeah. Turner Broadcasting is the place to have your dial tomorrow if you're a sports fan. Braves baseball at 1:30. The NBA draft on TNT at 7:30. One and 2 the count. Tom Glavine waits to hit next. Heredia is out of Arizona. The pitch. Shot to third. Good play by Berry. A little looping liner. 1 out.
That may be a sign that things are about to change. Glavine strikes out the side, and a flare gets hauled in by Berry. Nice play.
Tom Glavine is the batter. Heredia and Lenny Webster get together halfway between the plate and the mound. And Tony Tarasco has grabbed the bat and moved on deck, which means Kelly, and I bet it was on that hit and run play. Rather, he's going to pinch hit for Gallagher. I think Kelly's not leading off today. I guess it's just the right-handed, left-handed thing, but you're down a player awfully early in the game.
Yeah. I think Dave does a good job, too, of handling right-handed pitching. One more at bat certainly wouldn't hurt.
Glavine whacks one right over the Atlanta dugout.
Especially if Tom's not able to reach base and there's 2 outs, you'd think that it'd be all right for Gallagher to hit for himself, but we'll see how it works out.
Remember that cookbook promo they gave us yesterday?
Yeah.
They've changed it. They made it even longer.
We're going to change it. We know it lasted a little long yesterday, so we're going to cut out lunch.
Downstairs to Glavine. Suffice it to say the Braves' wives and their announcers' wives and the front office people wives are putting together another cookbook. Last year it was a big success. For information, call 404. High chop towards second. Lansing fields and throws. 2 down. Just call 404-614-1913 or outside the Atlanta area, 1-800-433-2728.
What's your recipe this year?
Well, it's Paula's. It's Vienna bread and some kind of chocolate chip cake. I am diabetic, and my wife is trying to eliminate me. Don's come up with Mary's chili. Pete has Kitty's cookies and broiled marinated flank steak. I assume those aren't mixed together. Tarasco hits a foul. And for Joe, it's Mom's orange cake. So the old backdoor chili is...
That's last year.
Thing of the past. 0-2 the count. Takes care of Tarasco. 1-2-3, nothing doing. Heredia's second strikeout. We go to the bottom half of the fourth inning. Braves lead at 5-3. Here's Cordero to lead things off. And the pitch is low. 1 ball, no strikes.
In that game, Skip, Melvin Nieves just called up by San Diego, hit a home run, his first of the year. They also had homers from Williams, Bell, and Glenn, Galarraga, and Johnson for the Padres.
High chop to short. Blauser digs it out and throws. Close. He got him. 1 down. Cordero gets down the line in good shape. So the first one is out of there in the fourth. And Lenny Webster will be the batter. Don's wife Mary is along on the trip with us, and she has informed us in no uncertain terms that chili she cooks up is Mary's turkey chili. Well, we assumed that.
Yeah, it's chili for a turkey, certainly. She gets it finished.
Don will have 4.5 innings to respond. Here's Lenny Webster. 1 ball, no strikes. Webster hit the ball sharply, a double to right his first time, keying a 2-run Montreal inning.
Only thing about the turkey chili recipe.
To third, Pacoda on a short hop. Good play. 2 out. Yes. Sean Berry is the batter, and the pitch is outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
He's been eating a lot of that chili, hasn't he?
And Pete hasn't ever gotten any of it, has he?
No.
The 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. To the right. This crowd has pretty much settled down into a baseball crowd, at least for now. But boy, if Montreal gets it going again, they will kick up a racket.
Well, getting it going last night meant that they got their leadoff man aboard. They had him on base 6 out of 8 innings tonight, only once so far.
Chop toward third again. They call it foul.
Have you ever seen so many high bouncing chop ground balls in your life?
Oh, it's a little rough.
Both sides. Fair or foul. Already called foul before it hit the ground by Ed Rapuano.
So the count evens at 2-2. We have the pitching pairings for Florida, where we head after the game tomorrow. Kent Merker and Charlie Huff, a couple of contrasting styles on Thursday night. Steve Avery and Mark Gardner, who pitched so well up here against the Expos the other day. On Friday night, Greg Maddox, Terry Matthews Saturday night, Tom Glavine, David Weathers Sunday night. Both Weathers and Glavine working tonight. Still 2-2. Bobby Lopez out here early today, and Ryan Klesko. Lopez working on his throwing. Klesko working on his left fielding. Kelly is there. He's got it, and the inning is over. So Glavine works his first 1-2-3 inning of the game, and at the end of 4, Atlanta leads it 5-3. Blauser has grounded to short. He has singled and scored. Braves got 2 in the first. McGriff and Justice driving him in with doubles, and then they got 3 in the third. A wild pitch, an infield out by Justice driving in a run, and O'Brien hitting a sacrifice fly to drive in another. A strike to Blauser.
I saw Jeff after the game last night. He said to me, he said, "You the only one that wants to be a middle infielder?" I said, "Well, no, not off the top of my head." And he said, "Well, if you do, send them to me." And then proceeded to show me all of his wounds.
Alou will handle this with ease. 1 down.
He is beaten up. He has got skin places all over both knees. He's got spike marks all over the left side of his left shin. And last night when he was hit by that pitch from Ken Hill, I thought it got him on the arm. Got him right in the ribs. He said by the 5th inning he could barely twist his body, could barely breathe, take a deep breath.
That's why there are people who say that compared to basketball and football players, baseball players are not in shape. And they might be right if you're talking about in shape to do a marathon or something. But to go out there 158 times or 162 times, boy, you have to be able to play through some things. That's hit hard, but Cordero will glove it. Heredia continues to pitch well. 2 down.
Add to that the travel, being on the road half of that time. Not easy.
Fred McGriff, the batter. And if you're a hitter, the constant foul balls off the instep, off the foot, banging into walls, getting taken out on double plays. Pitcher just throwing a baseball, a very unnatural act. It's not an easy way to make a buck, but you make a lot of bucks if you're good at it. Downstairs to McGriff, 1 ball, no strikes. Out, nobody on. Good pitch. Good live fastball over the outside corner. The hits are even at 5. The Braves lead at 5-3. Off his thumbs. Pop foul back. And he's in the hole, 1-2.
He's a little late, but he had a good swing. He had some success against Heredia last year. Only 2 at-bats, but one was a long one. Heredia's got good movement on his fastball normally.
Look out, folks. Lined into the seats.
Part of the reason he has picked up 4 wins in his last 12 appearances is because he does a good job of doing things like in this situation, of holding the opponents to give his teammates a chance to catch up, and then suddenly he's the pitcher of record.
He's doing his job tonight, and he continues to do so. Walker will make the play, and the inning comes to a close. We're halfway home, and the Braves lead it 5-3.
Well, the way this one started out, it looked like whoever settled down first might have the advantage, and that's what happened with Glavine. Kirk Reeder continued to pitch in and out of trouble. He's gone. Glavine settled down after that shaky 2nd inning, and he's still in there pitching with a 2-run lead. He'll face Lansing in the pitcher spot. I don't know if we'll see a pitch hitter yet. In the top of the order, Marquise Grissom. First one to Lansing down low, and it's 1-0. Lansing a part of, and what Pete, you agree with me, is one of the prettiest plays in baseball when it works. That suicide squeeze executed to perfection back in the 2nd. In the air, left field. Tarasco there, 1 gone. Tarasco came on in the 4th inning to pinch hit for Gallagher. He has since stayed in left field. And Gil Heredia is going to bat for himself. The right-handed pitcher, originally out of the Giants organization, traded over here for an infielder a couple of years ago. He has restored order for the Montreal Expos.
That may be why Heredia is batting for himself. 3 for 6 will get you a few at-bats when it's your turn there.
I think the conversation you're seeing between Pujols and Heredia there, he's wondering why Heredia stopped at first. It's off the end of the bat down the right field line. The outfield was not playing very deep, and they were shaded over that way, but it still took David Justice a little bit of time to get to that ball. But Heredia stopped long before Justice got to that ball.
For a lot of pitchers, they need directions to get to first base, but when you're 2 out of 5 and now 3 out of 6, you certainly know where first and second must be. 6th hit of the night for the Expos. Heredia at first, top of the order, Marquise Grissom. He's going to try the right field corner. That's going to get in for extra bases. Heredia will be stopped at third. And Grissom stands at second with the double.
Hitters that have success against Tom Glavine usually do it by going the other way. Glavine likes to keep the ball away from righties or lefties, and both Heredia and Marquise Grissom have done just that, just taking the pitch that was away and going the opposite way with it. Just as the Braves had success going the opposite way against Reeder tonight. Both Glavine and Reeder pitch a lot away from hitters.
Heredia is at third. Grissom, representing the possible tying run, is at second. Here's Rondell White. He has been a thorn in the side of Tom Glavine all night. Doubled and scored in the first, singled in the third. Down low, 1-0. We got a lot of looks at Rondell White in spring training. He's out of Jones High School in Gray, Georgia. 2-0 the count. A couple of good baseball players out of that high school in recent years. Willie Green of the Reds is also a graduate of Jones High School. You folks in Atlanta who read the Journal-Constitution, this name will be familiar to you. Did he go around? Yes, he did. That's 2-1. Rondell White was Baseball Player of the Year and Atlanta Journal-Constitution Player of the Year 4 years ago. So he is well known to Atlanta and Georgia natives. Toward second, Lemke has the pitcher hung up. The throw to the plate, and Heredia is out of there. Braves catch a break in that there was a pitcher running at third. They have caught breaks from Heredia running 3 times already this inning. As Pete pointed out, that should have been a double. Then on Grissom's double, he started Cadillacing at second, and now this.
Yeah, he got about halfway down the line, didn't seem to know what to do. Lemke did the right thing, just running directly at the runner, and then when he finally broke home, that's where Lemke put the throw. Heredia was hung up in no man's land. He was halfway between third and home. And when he finally decided which direction he was going to go, there was no chance he was going to get there with a good throw.
That's a break for the Braves. No advance by Grissom. Score White a fielder's choice. 4-2 on the putout. And now the tying run, 370 feet from scoring instead of at second. Make that 270. Here's Moises Alou. He has been quiet tonight. 0 for 2, grounded to second and struck out swinging, but what a year he's having. And what a month he is having RBI-wise. Too much time and Glavine steps off, and it's a good time to bring up a point you were making over on radio, Pete, about how there are some guys on this ball club having great years, but you can't find them in the All-Star ballot. Couldn't believe it when I looked at the latest tally. First pitch outside, 1-0. Here's Moises Alou having one of the best years of any hitter in the National League. And among National League outfielders, he is 13th in the votes. Marquise Grissom, 16th. And some of the ones up above him, very surprising, too. He's behind Henry Rodriguez. He's behind Deion Sanders. He's behind Andy Van Slyke. And none of those three are having the year that Moises Alou is having. Count 1-1 to Moises Alou. You have to change the name of that game to the most popular game, not the All-Star game. Because it is in the hands of the fans, and they obviously vote for the ones that they want to see, but unless you have a manager who has some choices and a leeway to make them, then the tops in the game sometimes aren't represented there.
I'm sure he'll be there, but he won't be in the starting lineup.
That's the injustice. Good fastball by Glavine. That has been his bread and butter pitch for the last 3 innings. Came out in the 3rd inning and struck out the side using the fastball almost exclusively. Worked a 1-2-3 in the 4th. And he has the count 1-2 to Alou. Out of play, Alou stays alive. Still 1-2. In the 5th inning, but it's already 21-10 on the clock here, unless yours only counts up to 12, in which case it's 9-10. There you are. That's not a football score. I've always heard that called military time. The 24-hour clock. Got him a chase of Badman. Good pitching by Glavine. Expos get a couple of hits in the inning, one of them a double, and come away empty. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and a couple left. 5 in the book.
Braves on top by 2 as we go to the 6th inning. Time for tonight's Aflac trivia question. Here it is. Which 2 players share the National League record for the most walks received in a season? And we'll have the answer for you in the bottom half of the inning.
David Justice to lead it off in the 6th, O'Brien and Lemke to follow. Justice 1 out of 2, a double. He's picked up a couple of RBIs. That total's starting to climb. Remember, there was a while there when the power numbers were not coming for David Justice. He's up to a dozen homers now. Big small 1 inside. A dozen homers and 36 RBIs. Off speed and outside, and it's 2-0. One out of 2, 329 the batting average, and starting to be prominently mentioned in the top 10 in hitting. High again, and it's 3-0.
David currently 3rd in votes among National League outfielders, behind Barry Bonds and Lenny Dykstra.
Roberto Kelly 2 spots down behind in 5th. Takes a strike, and it's 3-1. If you look at the numbers and you follow the stats for David Justice, 329 now, but most impressive, he's drawn 44 base on balls. He's only struck out 27 times. There's strike 2 there. Those numbers kind of ho-hum when you're talking about Tony Gwynn, but when you're talking about a power hitter like David Justice, those totals impressive.
Very good discipline. He rarely swings at a pitch out of the strike zone.
On the ground, Walker has it. He'll win the foot race. 1 gone. And Gil Heredia has set down 9 in a row since coming on in relief of Kurt Reeder. Charlie O'Brien's other at-bat, a grounder back to the pitcher, 0 for 1 officially. That RBI gave Charlie 18 for the year. But a good pickup he has been for the Braves. He kept looking at Sean Barry at 3rd like he had an idea of dropping 1 down. You know, we were talking earlier about this Montreal ball club, Pete, about how when you're working with a pretty strict budget, it's very important that you develop your farm system and you have good scouting. Next one to O'Brien. Fouled away. That'll make it 1-1. It's also important that when you sign players to fill in the roles, they have to come through and they have to be special. And point you brought up was a good one, is that that's not just limited to players with limited or clubs with limited budgets.
Well, the Atlanta Braves have done the very same thing with additions like Bill Pacoda and Charlie O'Brien and Dave Gallagher and the role players on the ball club.
1-2 the count to O'Brien. Center field. Grissom goes back as well as anybody in the league. Makes it look easy. That's 10 in a row set down by Heredia. 2 gone here in the 6th inning. And Lemke's the hitter. It looked like it was going to be a 9-8 ball game the way it started out. 5-3 at the end of 2.5, but you knew it couldn't last forever, and what you wanted to be was the one with the biggest number when the hitting stopped. And that's where the Braves are. Grounder to second. 11 in a row set down by Heredia. Another 1-2-3 inning. Braves go quietly in the 6th. We move to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's still the Braves 5, the Expos 3.
Before we start the bottom of the 6th, let's answer tonight's Aflac trivia question. Which 2 players share the National League record for most walks received in a season? And here's the answer. Eddie Stanky and Jim Wynn, 148.
Larry Walker to lead it off for the Expos. Walker, Cordero, and Webster. Walker, 1 out of 2, was out trying to stretch a single into a double in the 1st inning. Takes a strike, 0-1. I was listening to you talk earlier, Pete. You said he is borderline having a serious injury?
Yeah, the rotator cuff tear is almost to the point where surgery would be necessary right now. It was described as being a little under 2 centimeters in length. And according to what the team trainer says, anything 2 centimeters or over means almost automatically going to surgery immediately. So he is, you know, an 1/8 of a centimeter away, if he tears it a little more, from being out for the year.
To right field. He can still hit. That's going to be extra bases. Should be no surprise when Larry Walker gets a double. That's 31 for the year. That leads the National League.
There's been all the talk over in the American League about Chuck Knobloch of the Minnesota Twins on a pace to set an all-time record for doubles in a year. He's got 35 right now. Well, Larry Walker not far behind him now with this one, is 31st. And remember, back in the 1st inning, he was thrown out at second base trying to stretch a single into a double.
So Walker is at second. Nobody out. And here's Cordero. Infield single in the 2nd, scored, grounded to short his other at bat. 1 out of 2, and a hair over 300 for the year. Toward first base, McGriff is there. Glavin's got to hurry. He does. Did they get him? Yes. That's a play you work on all spring, and you can have no hesitation. When it gets past the pitcher, got to go to the bag, and that's a nice play by McGriff and Glavin.
We've talked a lot in this series about how quickly Marquise Grissom gets down the first base line from the right-hand batter's box. But Will Cordero not far behind. Very good speed getting from the batter's box to first base for a right-hand hitter.
Walker makes it over to 3rd. And Webster will be the hitter. Webster doubled back in the 2nd inning. He eventually scored run number 3 of the game for the Expos. He grounded to 3rd his last time up. 5-3, the Braves leading it. Inside, good stop by O'Brien. Getting back to Walker for a second, knowing that, were you a little surprised he went head first in the 2nd in the 1st inning?
Yeah, you would think that something like that, or a hard throw that he had to make, maybe on a forced play attempt at second base when he fields a ground ball at first. There are all kinds of little ways that rotator cuff tear could get a little more serious, and if it is, he might have to go out for the year. As it stands now, he still faces surgery after the season.
2-0 the count to Webster. Well, you know the Expos, every time he takes off running or makes a throw, have to hold their breath. Comebacker. Glavin looks to 3rd, throws to 1st. Good play by Glavin. He's made a couple of good plays tonight. He's had a lot of balls tonight that have been beaten right into the dirt out in front of home plate. There's the look for the runner to make sure he stays put to throw on to first.
Sean Berry, the batter, he's 0 for 2. You know, you see in this ballpark more than most I can remember in the National League. High chops, not so much off the turf, but in that area right in front of the plate.
Very hard dirt.
So Glavine with a chance to pitch away from the leadoff double by Walker if he can get Berry.
Down low, 1-0.
Chase to Badman, 1-1's the count.
Tim Scott begins to loosen now in the Montreal bullpen.
Out of play, and Glavine ahead 1-2.
You know, if you look at this Montreal ball club, and it compares really quite favorably to Atlanta. The Braves starting pitching may be a little better. The Expos bullpen may be a little stronger, but the Expos do not have a left-hander in their bullpen. And that's something that may come back to haunt them as the season goes on.
On the ground, Lemke's there. Good job of pitching by Tom Glavine. Walker gets the leadoff double. He is left standing at third as Glavine sets down Cordero, Webster, and Berry. 6 in the books from Olympic Stadium. The Braves still up by 2.
Dakota 0 for 2. He's rounded out to third and lined out to third and takes a strike from Heredia. 0-1 on Bill. Another ground ball foul this time down the third base side. And it's 0-2 on Pacoda. Into center field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Good start to the 7th inning. The first base runner allowed by Gil Heredia after retiring 11 straight. And that'll bring up Tom Glavine in a bunt situation. Glavine has 4 sacrifice bunts this year. With only 4 sacrifices this year. Usually that's one of the strengths of this Braves pitching staff. A little bit of a smaller crowd tonight, 40,623. Still a good crowd. One of the larger ones of the year here at Olympic Stadium, but 5,000 less than we had last night. You may say, well, how can that happen? How can that happen?
Why is it down a little bit?
Montreal picks up a game in the standings, game 2 in the series. Why is the crowd smaller? I'll tell you, after the bunt attempt by Glavine, he picks Lenny Webster. And Webster throws out Glavine. Down to second goes Pacoda. 2-4 sacrifice gets the job done. Pacoda down to second. Hey, you would think that after Montreal winning in a big way last night with a very lively crowd here, would have had even more people here tonight. But tonight is also the night of the National Hockey League draft, and it's on 2 different networks here in Canada. And that's kept some folks home watching that tonight. Here's Tony Tarasco batting for the 2nd time. He struck out in the 4th inning. A little bit low, ball 1. People might have wondered why Bobby Cox would go to Tarasco so early in this ballgame, but the point you brought up before is the very reason. Absolutely no chance of his seeing a left-hander. It was a safe move. 1-1 the count now on Tarasco. 1 man gone. Pacoda down at second. Braves with 6 hits. The Expos with 8, Braves leading at 5-3. Here's the 1-1. Downstairs, 2-1, the count on Tony Tarasco. Since getting off to that 13-1 start this year, the Braves have almost been playing in cruise control, just cruising along in first place. Every time they look over their shoulders, there were the Expos, 3, 3.5, 4 games back, something like that. But after last night's game, when Montreal pulled to within a game and a half, that was the quietest bus I can recall being on back to the hotel in a couple of years. I think it began to sink in that, hey, this is a good ball club. We got to beat these guys. Pacoda rounding third on the hit to right by Tarasco. Here comes the throw home, and he is out. Moises Alou fires a strike to Lenny Webster. For out number 2, down to second goes Tarasco.
Pacoda may have stumbled a little at third, but Moises Alou is a good outfielder. Watch him as he hits the bag here. He does stumble. That may have been the difference. Here's the throw right on the money. Good setup there by Webster and a good tag. It's so easy to get caught up in all the offensive ability of Alou and lose sight of the fact that he is a very good defensive outfielder.
And now Moises' dad is out to make a pitching change. Tim Scott's going to check into the game. And Freddie Benavides also coming in to play second base in a double switch made by Philippe Alou. See the numbers on Scott for the season. Heredia worked 4 1/3 innings, allowing 2 hits, no runs yet. The runner at second is his. He didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 2. The batter will be Jeff Blauser with 2 outs now, and Tarasco, the runner, down at second. But back to what we were talking about, Don, before the break. I think it kind of sunk in last night after getting whipped by the Montreal Expos that this is not going to be a cakewalk to win this division.
And these guys are not going to go away. Don't you think the fact, and we talked about this a little bit last night, sometimes familiarity can breed contempt, but it can also make you where you think, well, they're neighbors of ours. They're almost like relatives. We see them for 6 weeks every spring, and it'll be nice to have them finish second behind them, but I'm not sure the Expos are so sure of that. 2 games better than the Braves in June, and a solid ball club.
Here's Blauser, 1 for 3, had a single back in the third, came around to score. He's also grounded out to short and flied to right. One ball, no strikes.
Scott, one of those pitchers that got lost in the Dodgers organization, ended up going down to San Diego and came up here in a trade that sent Arky Sinfranco down to San Diego. Basically a 2-pitch pitcher.
Outside corner, and that evens the count 1-1.
When you watch him pitch, his philosophy, much like that of Greg Olson with the Braves, fastball, a curveball. His curveball, when it is on, breaks more down than away. Very important that he spot the fastball like he did to the strike there to Blauser.
Now the 1-1 offering. Into left field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Tarasco rounding third, heading home. The throw by Rondell White cut off by Lansing, and now they've got Blauser hung up. The run is scored, but Blauser will be tagged out. So the Braves do manage to get 1 run out of it all in the top half of the 7th inning, and after 6.5, it is now Atlanta 6, Montreal 3. 3-run lead now for Atlanta, 6-3. As we go to the bottom of the 7th, Mike Lansing leads it off. A squeeze bunt for an RBI in the 2nd inning. He flied to left in the 5th. And he takes a strike from Glavine, 0-1.
I want to ask you something about John Smoltz. You had him on a pregame show on radio, right?
Yes, I did.
All right, they're having a little bit of a controversy here with the Expos.
Fouled off.
It's been in the paper. Larry Walker, who was suspended,
apparently is not getting paid, and he and his agent are having a little to do about it. What's the situation with Smoltz and the Braves?
Well, I asked John that, and he said that it was predetermined in a meeting between John's agent and John Scherholz that we don't know what the predetermined action was, because the agent and John Scherholz and John Smoltz decided that whatever they decided to pay John or not to pay John would be kept quiet, would be kept a private matter, and would not be disclosed to the media. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Mike Lansing.
So once more, John Scherholz gets a bouquet for anticipating and nipping something in the bud.
Before the end of the suspension, when all of this came out about Walker.
Yep.
1-2 the count on Mike Lansing. Freddie Benavides on deck. He came in as a part of that double switch in the top half of the inning. Into left center field. Blauser can't get to it. Base hit for Mike Lansing to lead off the bottom of the 7th. That's the 9th Montreal hit. And it'll bring up Freddie Benavides for the first time tonight, hitting .232. No homers and 4 runs driven in.
And of the 9, 5 or 6 have been into the bat, opposite field or infield hits. Only a couple of balls have been hit hard off Tom Glavine all night long.
Benavides, the count 0-1.
You know, a lot of times we'll show you as you get near the end of the game a team's record leading after 7, leading after 8. But one of the things we ought to make you aware of is that right there. The Expos, like the Braves, not a ball club, you can just pack up and concede that it's over.
There's a strike in the outside corner, 0-2. Well, because of their aggressiveness, and they are a very aggressive ball club, and they manufacture runs so well, they're very capable of putting together big innings. They've had a lot of 5- and 6-run innings this year. If you look at the Braves bullpen, starting to stir now. Mike Stanton, Steve Bedrosian. You know, if you have a team that sits back and has to wait for a 3-run homer to score, they're not going to have those 5- and 6-run innings as often as a team like Montreal, which is going to get on base and steal bases and just do a lot of things to manufacture runs like they did back in the 2nd inning with a squeeze bunt.
That's right. They can take a walk, a single, a blooper, and get 3 runs out of it.
Here's the 0-2. Down on the way, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got a birthday to announce here tonight. Julie Kane back in Atlanta, 21 years old. I also want to remind you that the first to pitch. And that's all for Benavides. The changeup strikes him out. 5 strikeouts in the game for Glavine. And 1 out here in the 7th.
Good spot, good arm speed, got the job done. Watch the way this goes down and away. He was out in front of it. He was over the top of it. I think we've told you before, if you get arm speed, you get change in velocity, you get movement, and you get location. That is a perfect changeup. 3 out of 4 will get you an out, but Glavine had all 4 on that one.
Grissom a double back in the 5th inning.
Out of the 10th inning, tied at 2. Rodriguez is back to work. Leading off is Grissom. Into center sends Gerald Young back. He misread it. It's off his glove. Grissom will head to 3rd. He might circle the bases. Here comes Marquise. The throw by Pena. Safe, and the Expos win 3-2. On a misplayed ball in center by Gerald Young. That should have been the first out. Instead, the game is over.
Couldn't stop the swing there. Oh, they said he did. How did he get away with that one? Tom Glavine can't believe it.
Even Glavine had to have a laugh out of that one. What they're going to say is he started his swing and then fell down.
How can that not be ruled a swing? How can that not be ruled a swing?
Now, if the bat makes contact with the ball, is it a hit?
Well, it's 1-0 the count on Grissom. Now it's even 1 ball, 1 strike. I wanted to
Give you that number for Braves Baseball Heaven one more time. It's a fantasy camp type of situation down in West Palm Beach, Florida. You can put on a Braves uniform and play a week's schedule just as if you were an Atlanta Brave. All sorts of former big leaguers will be there. If you'd like information, you must be 30 years of age or older. Call 1-800-8-BRAVES. 1-800-8-BRAVES, and they will send you a brochure. Inside the Grissom, 2-1. Braves leading at 6-3. We're in the bottom half of the seventh. Braves need to get one win in this series. A win here tonight guarantees they would leave after tomorrow, regardless of what happens, still in first place. Double play possibilities here. Dropped by Blauser, and everybody's safe. That is almost always automatic when Mark Lemke and Jeff Blauser are involved.
Normally you would say it's automatic, but it's a point you brought up earlier, the team speed of the Expos. Watch Blauser try to unload this in a hurry. Lemke gives him the feed, but he's trying to throw already, knowing that Grissom can run, and also knowing he's got Lansing bearing right down on him. That's as tailor-made as you can get it. But the fact that Grissom can run made him hurry a little and not get control of the ball.
That's only the 7th error of the year charged to Jeff Blauser. And runners are now at first and second, and there's a drive by Rondell White, but David Justice had him shaded toward right center, making the catch for the out. Blauser cuts off the throw as Lansing moves to third.
It's unusual to see a play like that behind Glavine because more than any other pitcher on this staff, he has had the defensive support this year. He's given up 49 runs coming to this part of the ballgame. Every one has been earned. He has yet to give up an unearned run.
First and third with 2 outs. And the dangerous Moises Alou, the batter.
Maybe more dangerous right now, Pete, because he's 0 for 3.
He's grounded out to second and struck out twice. 3 for 18 now in his career against Glavine. One ball, no strikes. You'd much rather see Larry Walker leading off an inning than coming up in this one. Pitch. Fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Moises Alou, 29 RBIs in his last 20 ball games. Just before the game tonight, he was honored as the Expos Player of the Week for last week.
Got a shot at being their Player of the Month, too, with those numbers.
Grissom always a threat to steal. 28 steals in 34 tries. Here's the 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Graphic, you saw definitely the advantage right here because if he did take off and steal, now all of a sudden a blooper, an error, or anything makes this a 1-run ball game. Take a little bit more to get him from there home. Actually allows Glavine to concentrate a little bit more on the hitter, and he's the key right now.
The runners lead from the corners. 2 outs. Over to first, Grissom back.
Every time Glavine throws to first base, Bill Pecota, from wherever he's standing, watch him in the corner of the screen. When Glavine throws over there, you'll see Pecota come into view. Why? Because even though the play is not yours, there is something to do other than stand around. And when that throw comes back to Glavine,
Dakota wants to make sure it doesn't get away from Glavin, roll down the left field line, and let a run score.
That is such a habit with third basemen that even in the fantasy camp, the Braves baseball heaven that Bobby Cox attended 2 years ago, and it came to the game where the fantasy campers play the big leaguers, even Bobby was backing up throws back to the pitcher. Creatures of habit these players become. There's the 1-2, throw to first. And Grissom back safely. And again, Bill Pacoda comes over to third base to back up that throw back to Glavin.
Well, it's a safety net that you may not need for 1, 2, 3 years, but all of a sudden, if you're not
happens
there,
once and you're not there, cost you a run in this case. Again, the 1-2 to Alou popped him up. Will it stay in play? Fred McGriff calling off Charlie O'Brien and makes the catch in foul territory. And Glavin gets out of another mess. Runners are left at first and third. We've completed 7. The Braves maintain their 6-3 lead. Here's Roberto Kelly, who has walked, singled, and grounded out to short. He has scored 2 runs tonight. Tim Scott delivers, and it's fouled away. Nothing in 1 on Kelly. Here's the 0-1 delivery. Missing low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kelly, McGriff, and Justice. Tough threesome for Tim Scott here in the 8th inning. Into right center field. Alou can't get to this one. He does trap the ball, though, and keep it from going to the wall. Still, Kelly able to get into second base with a double. He might have had a triple had that ball gotten by Alou all the way to the wall. That was a good play by Moises Alou. You don't very often see an outfielder short hop a ball like that in the gap.
Now, backhanded it. Nice play. Came up throwing. Made this a lot closer than it was going to be. That might have been a triple for Kelly. Another look from this side. Has he recovered from that leg injury? I would say so. Good defensive play by Alou.
Kelly now 2 out of 3. That's his 18th double of the year. And now Fred McGriff, who has doubled, walked, and grounded out. He drove in a run with a double in the first. Taking a strike outside corner, 0-1.
Then a little bit of a dry spell for McGriff in the home run column. Batting average up over 300. Only 1 home run beat in his last 61 AB. Still has 19 for the year.
Don't you think that's because of the way he's being pitched lately?
Oh, I do. Yes, sir.
He's not even seeing anything that's not over the very edge of the outside corner, or they try to bust him inside with something just over the very edge of the inside corner.
They keep pitching him out there. He keeps racking up doubles.
Down the left field line. He'll take that instead of trying to drive the ball out of the ballpark on those pitches. They tried to go inside to him there and missed. 2-1, didn't go, says Rapalano.
There's some slow learners in the National League, especially left-handers. They'll make 1 or 2 good pitches inside to McGriff and then go right back out there with a breaking ball or with a fastball away, and he just shoots it to left field.
Finally seeing a little defensive adjustment on Montreal's part as Lansing plays a little closer to the line at third than Sean Berry was playing him. And there's another ball outside, hit to the left side. Lansing fields and throws him out. Kelly holding at second. See what the Expos do here. They've got a base open with David Justice, the hitter. Charlie O'Brien due up after Justice, so they could intentionally walk David here. Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach.
Then if Bobby Cox thinks 6-3 is not enough, if they intentionally walk David Justice, they could intentionally get a look at Ryan Klesko, too, with Javi Lopez finishing up behind the plate.
Well, the decision has been made, and we'll see what they do here.
If I ever make a Western movie, I want Bobby Cox to be the marshal. He's just got that look with the hat pulled down there.
And they are going to walk Justice.
This will be the first walk issued by Tim Scott. It'll put runners at first and second with one out. Fifth time this year, David's been intentionally passed. First and second now with one gone for Charlie O'Brien. So he's bounced to the pitcher, had a sacrifice fly to center, and then fly to center again. He's 0 for 2. That sac fly giving O'Brien 18 RBIs. He only had 23 RBIs all of last year with the Mets. Was keeping an eye on Lenny Webster and not the second baseman. And Benavides almost sneaked in behind him. One ball, no strikes on Charlie O'Brien. If you're ever at a game, situation like this with a runner down at second base, you'll see the third base coach, after he flashes the signs to the hitters, turn all of his attention to the runner at second. And he's allowing Kelly to keep an eye on the hitter and the pitch being thrown while he watches to see that no infielder cuts in behind Kelly to his surprise. Oh, what a good swing by Charlie O'Brien. One ball, one strike. Some third base coaches holler all the time. You're all right, you're all right, you're all right. Get back. Some just keep an eye on it, and if you hear anything, you better get back.
And I think that most players would prefer the latter.
Yeah.
They would like to, since there is noise going on, you learn to recognize the coach's voice, and if you hear it at all, you hustle back.
One ball, one strike on O'Brien. Third base coach always making him aware of the number of outs. 1-2 now on O'Brien. Braves with 6 runs, 9 hits. The Expos 3 runs, 9 hits. Jeff Shaw up now in the Montreal bullpen. Now the 1-2 pitch on the way, and O'Brien fouls it straight back. Still 1-2.
Having a defined role, and to see the number of at-bats there is still a lot higher than what he has this year. And I just think having a defined role, Ken Merker will tell you that knowing what your role is going to be has made it easier for him to be more comfortable, and I think that's probably true with Charlie O'Brien.
O'Brien, off-speed pitch gets him. First strikeout for Tim Scott. 2 gone now. The batter will be Mark Lemke.
That's a curveball we talked about earlier. Watch where he starts it. He starts it right about knee-high. It looks like a strike. It's a straight downward break from the time he turns it loose.
Lemke tonight 1 for 3. A double, a strikeout, and a ground out to second. Parents in town for this series. Strike in the outside corner. The count on Lemke.
Is there an umpire in all of baseball that gets more fun out of calling a strike than Frank Pulley?
I don't think so.
Sugar Ray Leonard didn't pack as much power in his right hand as Frank does on a called strike. Here's the 0-2. Fought off foul, still 0-2. Out just as the runner at first. Kelly down at second. 6-3. Atlanta on top. Top of the 8th. And again the 0-2 pitch. Little tap out toward short. Cordero flips to Benavides, and that's all for Atlanta. So the leadoff double amounts to nothing. Braves wind up stranding 2. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. No change in our score. Bottom half of the 8th inning, and Tom Glavine's night is through. After working 7 innings, Mike Stanton takes over for him. Glavine worked 7, allowed 9 hits, 3 runs, all earned. No walks tonight. That's a big number for Tom. 5 strikeouts.
That's how you can pitch a game like this, where sometimes you're shaky, sometimes not completely in control. But he came out of this only giving up 3 runs and none after the 2nd inning. And one of the reasons is he was ahead in the count and able to get outs without walking people.
He threw 96 pitches, 68 strikes, to give you an idea how good his control was tonight. And here's Stanton, who will probably pitch this inning with Greg McMichael getting ready for the 9th inning. Larry Walker tonight is 2 for 3. A single, a strikeout, a double.
A little bit nicer weather today. Were you able to get out and move around town a little?
Yeah, I did a little window shopping.
Did you? What'd you find?
Well, I was undecided whether I should buy a boat or a tie. I found a tie. I actually found a tie. Didn't buy it. But I found a tie priced at $185.
Oh, that's Canadian dollars. Our director, Lonnie Dale, bought 3 of them.
I'm sure he did. It was a very nice tie.
$180?
$185. I had to pass on that. 1 and 2 to Cannon Walker. Up the middle, he's 3 for 4. A leadoff single to start the bottom half of the 8th inning. And that'll bring up Will Cordero. Cordero 1 for 3, an infield hit back in the 2nd. He's grounded out twice since then. Upstairs, ball 1. Steve Bedrosian's also up in the Atlanta bullpen along with Greg McMichael in case the Braves need some help for Stanton here in the 8th inning. And they might. Deep left field and gone. 2-run homer for Will Cordero. It is 6-5. That is only the 2nd home run given up by Mike Stanton this year. Number 9 on the year for Cordero.
And Cordero continues to campaign to try to be known as the best offensive shortstop in the National League. This pitch, a fastball down, in, and gone, right on it. No hang time on it. That ball never got very high and just whistled out of here. That's one of those, if you're the pitcher, you know as soon as it hits the bat that either it is out of here or there's a hole in the wall.
And now with the lead, just a 1-run lead, Greg McMichael gets the call here in the 8th. McMichael making his 38th appearance. 3 and 4, 16 saves.
We've talked a lot of times, Pete, about balls that are hit out of the park. I think most people think that more home runs are allowed at the top of the strike zone than, say, the middle and the lower part. But I have always felt that there were more balls hit hard that were low and middle in. That ball there could not have been much more than knee-high, if a little bit above. But because it was on the inner half of the plate, he dropped the head on it and just shot it out of here.
Here's Lenny Webster. Ball 1. Mel Rojas up now in the Expo bullpen.
We showed you that graphic earlier. 3-run leads have been overcome 4 times this year already by Montreal. Here's the 1-1. Line away, ball 2. 2-1 to Webster. Darren Fletcher on deck. Two and two the count. Here's the 2-2. House foul, still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fletcher, he will bat for the pitcher. Here's the 2-2. Into right field, Justice is there. 1 down.
Moises Alou has been very quiet offensively tonight, but all of a sudden the throw he made to Neil Pecota at the plate got him right back in this ball game and is one of the pivotal plays in the game. Here's Darren Fletcher pinch hitting for Tim Scott. 293, 7 homers, 40 runs driven in. 0 for 5 as a pinch hitter. One ball, no strikes. 6 runs, 9 hits for Atlanta, 5 runs, 11 hits for the Expos. 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. In for a called strike, 1-1. Two and 1 the count. Another big play in this ball game right now was having Heredia as the lead base runner back in the 5th inning and having him get thrown out at the plate. Here's the 2-1 delivery, looped into left field. That's going to be a fair ball, headed toward the corner. Fletcher on his way to second. Carrasco up with the ball. A pinch hit double for Darren Fletcher. Tim Spear into pinch run for Darren Fletcher. And the batter is Mike Lansing, the potential tying run down at second with 1 out. Lansing 1 for 2 with an RBI. He got the RBI and a squeeze bunt back in the second. Oh and 1 the count on Lansing. The 0-1 delivery. Good stop by O'Brien as the count evens up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the 1-1. Fly ball, shallow left field again. Long run for Carrasco, and he can't get to it. Around third, Darren Fletcher. He scores to tie the game. Another bloop double to left. This one off the bat of Mike Lansing. His 25th RBI of the year. Again, it looked like a pretty good pitch. In on the fist, a jam shot, a high fly ball, but Carrasco, a long way to run, could not gamble on trying to run in there, make a diving catch. One of the breaks of the game, and somewhere right now, Tom Glavine, if he is not already doing, should have permission to go into interior decorating and rearranging a clubhouse.
Now Lou Frazier on the pinch hit for Benavides. Taking ball one. Frazier for the year, .338. Lansing down at second, still only one out. It's 2-0. Another thing this rally at the bottom of the order does, it guarantees that you're going to have to pitch to the heart of the order one more time if this game stays tied. Nothing on Frazier. It's 2-1. Here's the 2-1. High with a fastball, ball 3. 3-1. Here's the 3-1 delivery. He walked him. Runners are now at first and second with one man out. And the always dangerous Marquise Grissom comes to the plate.
He's dangerous for a couple of reasons, Pete. We already know what he's done and what he can do, but with a guy like McMichael in there, you see a lot of balls that are hit off the ground, off the end of the bat, turf hops. If he hits one of those, that's almost automatically a base hit for Marquise Grissom.
Tonight, Grissom 1 for 4. He had a double in the fifth inning. First and second, one down. The game is tied at 6. Missing inside, ball 1. On the ground to short, Blauser to Lemke 1 over to first in time for the double play. A tough man to double, but Marquise Grissom hit the ball right on the nose. So the inning finally ends for the Expos, but they rally for 3, and we go to the 9th, all tied. Game tied at 6 as we go to the 9th inning for the Expos. Couple of changes. Lou Frazier, who pinch hit for Benavides, stays in the game at second. And the new pitcher is right-hander Mel Rojas. Appearance number 38 of the year for Rojas. You see his record. League's hitting just .213 against him, and Bill Picotta will lead off here in the 9th. And right now, a number that's going to get kind of lost in the shuffle with all the things that have happened in this game is the good job of long relief done by Gil Heredia when he took over for Kirk Reeder.
You got it. The difference in the ballgame, the job's done by the bullpen. Mike Stanton couldn't get the job done. Greg McMichael bounced around a little bit, but Scott and Heredia combining for 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, and only 1 run.
Here's Picotta, 1 for 3. Top of the 9th. In the 1-run games, the Braves are 10-8. Montreal 13-13. Back into the crowd. Or was it? He caught it. Lenny Webster had just enough room. And there's one man out.
That ball came off the cable. I think we're going to get some help on this. It hit the cable, and if that's the case, it is not a catch. He did a good job there, but that came off the support cable holding the screen.
And it was spotted by first base umpire Wally Bell, who came all the way down to Frank Pulley to tell him. I couldn't believe it when I saw Webster catch that ball because it was obviously headed back into the seats.
Good job there, Frank Pulley, of working with his other umpires.
So it's 0-1 on Pacoda. 0-2. Out of there on strikes instead is Bill Pacoda. 1 down.
Split finger fastball, fork ball, whatever you want to call it. Good spot. Starts it out knee high, breaks it down below the strike zone.
And now Ryan Klesko on the pinch hit for Greg McMichael. Klesko batting .318, 13 homers, 32 RBIs, 2 for 11 as a pinch hitter.
And if you're the Braves, a matchup here that could encourage you. You got Klesko who can hit the homers. Look at this. You got Rojas who can give them up too.
In for a called strike, 0-1. 1 out in the top of the ninth. The game tied 6-6. In the air, deep right field. This one's going to be way out of here. Long home run for Ryan Klesko, and the Braves have regained the lead, 7-6. Home run number 14, RBI number 33 for Ryan Klesko. He mashed this one.
That had 2 tudes going for it, altitude and longitude. Look at this hanging fork ball. Way out of here. That's Willie Stargell territory.
7-6 Atlanta. Back to the top of the order in Tony Tarasco. 0-1. Looking ahead to the bottom half of the ninth inning, Rondell White, Moises Alou, Larry Walker. Dangerous part of the Expo order. And Steve Bedrosian will be coming on out of the bullpen as Greg McMichael now can pick up a win here. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Klesko's homering with regularity this month. That's 7 home runs and only 52 at bats.
Only the second pinch hit home run by a Brave this year. Correction, the third. David Justice and Tony Tarasco, the only other 2 who've done it. There's a called strike, 1-2. Now the 1-2 on the way, fouled off. This crowd has been on a roller coaster ride all night. They're quiet for a little while, then they get one of those downhill spins that gets them screaming. Now it's very quiet again. That's all for Tarasco. Second strikeout of the inning for Rojas. 2 gone. That'll bring up Jeff Blauser.
It's the same pitch he threw Pacoda. It's the same pitch he wanted to throw Klesko. Knee-high split finger. Watch where this starts out. Right above the knees. And then the late break puts it just below his bat.
Blauser tonight 2 for 4, pair of singles. He has scored 1 and driven in 1. 7-6 Atlanta in the top of the ninth with 2 outs. 0-1.
Boy, it looks like his forkball down, Pete, is awfully difficult to pick up. You don't see Jeff Blauser take a swing like that. Blauser went after that like he was expecting it to be a fastball, staying up in the strike zone. His spin got to be tough to pick up.
On the ground to third, flagged down by Lansing. The throw to first in time, and that's all for Atlanta in the ninth. But the Braves have reclaimed the lead. A pinch hit home run by Ryan Klesko has made it 7-6 as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Well, now Steve Bedrosian's job is to hold him. There's a drive down the left field line by Rondell White. It's foul. First pitch in the bottom of the ninth. We were almost tied again. Rondell White tonight has doubled, single, hit into a force play and fly to right. Bedrock making his 28th appearance, no record.
Breaking ball upstairs. He's looking for something to pull on the first pitch. Unfortunately, about 2 inches too far inside.
It has been that long since Steve Bedrosian picked up a save. No saves last year, didn't play in '92, didn't have a save opportunity last year. 1 ball, 1 strike on Rondell White. Of course, Steve Bedrosian once won a Cy Young Award for his work in this situation when he was with the Philadelphia Phillies. 1987. 1-2 now on White.
I don't think a 1:35 game tomorrow will allow time for everybody to be in for therapy in the morning before coming back for the third game.
Moises Alou on deck, then Larry Walker. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Down and away, 2-2. Little soft liner. It's going to be over Lemke's glove into right center field. Rondell White's third hit of the night, and a tying run is aboard again.
This ball game has had them all. Bloops, bleeders, and blasts. This one right off the tip of the glove on a good pitch by Bedrosian. But not always do good pitches get good results.
Mark Wohlers has gotten up in the Atlanta bullpen. Moises Alou, the batter, he's 0 for 4 tonight.
Moises Alou, first at-bat of the night for him. Swinging a drive into the gap in left center field. And up against the fence. This could do it. Being waved home is Gwynn. They got a play to Rodriguez. Safe! Safe! And the 6-game drought is over for the National League.
He has grounded to second, struck out twice, and fouled out to first. Nobody out. White the runner at first.
I don't know what you think about the law of averages, but there are a lot of times when you would rather see a good hitter at 3 for 3 than see him 0 for 4, because a good hitter, you know, is eventually going to get his hit.
Here's the pitch to Alou. 1 ball, no strikes. 7 runs, 10 hits for Atlanta. 6 runs, 14 hits now for Montreal. Bottom half of the 9th inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch. 2-0. Rondell White chased back to first.
This was close. He got a little bit frisky, and it also looked like he started back to the bag with the wrong foot. If he had gotten picked off there, he might have just gone to the parking lot, gotten his car, and gone home, not showered in the clubhouse.
Again, the first.
What battles these two teams have had all year. Last night was an aberration in the season series. Most of these games have been right down to the wire. Here's the 2-0 pitch. 3-0. You can see Steve Bedrosian giving himself a pep talk out there.
Lou tonight, 2 strikeouts. One of the few times this year he's done that. Only 34 or 5 all year long.
3-0 pitch on the way, and there's a strike. 3-1.
Now, will they be aggressive enough to play a little hit and run here? 3-1. We have seen Philippe Alou try almost everything else thus far in the first 2 games.
McGriff trying a little deep there. He bluffed the throw back to the pitcher to see if Rondell White might take a step off the bag.
Bedrosian doing a good job of holding him close over there, Pete. Varying his time.
Count still 3-1 on Moises Alou. Runner is going. 3-1 pitch. Strike 2 call. Throw to second by O'Brien is late. Stolen base for Rondell White. His first of the year with the Expos.
Bedrosian did a good job of throwing over there, but with the high leg kick and the good jump made this awfully tough on Charlie O'Brien. The throw right there to Blauser. What Jeff's trying to do is get the call that it slid off the bag. Watching him get that jump and that speed, that's a little surprising that that's his first stolen base of the year.
Here's the 3-2 pitch to Alou, and he walked him. First and second, nobody out. And here comes Larry Walker, who's 3 for 4 tonight. 2 singles, a double, and a strikeout. Nobody out. Alou at first, White at second.
Don't expect this guy to be bunting.
Missing inside, ball 1.
Maybe if you were watching, you saw Pecota come in and talk to Bedrosian. But that was not to set up the defense of the bunt.
The 1-0 pitch to Walker. Strike in the inside corner. Evens the count. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's battled through a suspension. He has battled through some injuries, but he has also delivered in the clutch for the Expos in the month of June.
Here's the 1-1. Blowing inside, ball 2. 2-1. The 2-1 delivery. Line, base hit, right field. White around third. He will score. Heading for third, Alou. We are tied at 7. Larry Walker, 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs. He has driven in 52 runs this year.
Not only clutch hitting, Pete, but some smart base running. Here's a look at the swing. Down and in. Gets it past McGriff. But Walker came around and thought of going to second. If he had done that, he might have gotten himself into a rundown. But also, he knows if he stays at first, they're going to walk the bases loaded anyway. So clutch hitting and smart base running. Question is, are we going to pitch to him or are we going to walk him? If you were lip reading with Bobby Cox, you could see him make the statement, pitch to him. And I would bet you that they're going to take a shot at Cordero, try to pitch to him and get the out, and then walk the next guy. Because it looked like Bobby Cox said, go right at him.
Will Cordero tonight, 2 for 4. He had a 2-run homer his last time up. That made a 6-3 Atlanta lead, a 6-5 Atlanta lead. 7-7, bottom of the ninth. First and third, nobody out. Cordero, 26 hits in his last 51 at-bats. Ball 1.
You have to try to strike him out. If you have a strikeout pitch in your arsenal, you got to reach back for a little extra, and Bedrosian has to try to strike him out.
1 ball, 1 strike. Infield in, outfield, little league depth. Because a long fly ball wins the game anyway. Here's the 1-1. Slider outside, 2-1. The 2-1 delivery, foul back, it's 2-2. Tom Glavine left after 7 innings with a 6-3 lead, and the bullpen has let Montreal back into this one twice. Mike Stanton gave up 2 runs. Greg McMichael gave up 1. Steve Bedrosian's given up 1. Here's the 2-2 to Cordero. Little pop-up. Back toward the screen comes O'Brien. This one's into the crowd, though. Still 2-2.
That was a good time for that pitch. It's a gutsy pitch to make coming inside because he had stayed away from him. But Bedrosian put that pitch to one spot that he had to, right on his hands and above the belt. We've already seen what he does to down and in pitches.
Moises Alou at third. If he scores, the Expos have won their second straight over the Braves. And the count is full now, 3-2 on Cordero. Three-two pitch, ground ball, base hit, left field. Moises Alou scores, and the Montreal Expos are only 1/2 game behind the Braves.
Hit a good pitch. Bedrosian did all he could on that one.
The Montreal Expos coming from behind twice to beat the Braves 8-7 and move to within 1/2 game of Atlanta's lead in the National League East.